Hello everyone and welcome to Hybrid Budget. This video is on a bit of a debt update. Got some good news and I've got some questions really, so I could actually do with people's help and advice because I'm a bit in a weird position. Well, not a weird position, but it would be useful to get your guys' advice. Anyway, we'll jump on in. This is my debt update for August. So this is, I think in one of my previous videos I did a table set out like this. I think I did it in my notepad, but I've just transposed it over to Excel and it also just updates the calculations a bit easier. So these are all my debts. There's quite a few of them and they come to quite a lot. But yeah, I think some of it is just getting out in the open. I've said this on my last one. I found it so difficult to record my first couple of debt videos because I think I was just in denial with how much debt I was in, whereas now I'm a lot more accepting of it and I just need to sort of face the music. So I quite like the way I've set out this table. It just allows me to at a glance sort of see where I am with all my debt. So I'll just sort of explain it through briefly. Also, mine's a bit weird, so this is why it probably needs a bit of an explanation. So I list all my debts down on the left hand side. I've got the amount of credit that is currently on the cards on this first column. I've then got the total credit offered in the next column, available credit to take in the following column, and therefore the percentage of credit utilised. So I worked that out by basically saying what's the amount of credit I've got on that card and the total credit offered, and that gives me a percentage. And my goal is basically to try and get these all, well, either at 0 or below 50%, because it just helps with my credit score. I've then flagged the current interest, so you can see a lot of these are at 0% because these are all balance transfer cards. So it's just a quick glance to be like, okay, where are these up to? Okay, these are all 0%, fab. Then there's a column on what my minimum payments are. So if I did need to adjust the amount of payments I've got, I know as a minimum I need to keep these payments, you know, paying monthly. Then I've got the goal end date. So my goal end date is usually based upon when the balance transfer offer ends, or when the offer ends on the various credit cards. So where they basically move from 0%. And then this brings me on to my next one, the future interest of, so what do they go to? So they'll go from 0%, and after, for instance, in this one, 26 months, this will then turn to 24.9%. So obviously that's a lot higher interest, and I want to try and pay it down before the offer ends. And then what I've done is I've said, right, this is the goal end date, this is the number of months left. So I do a bit of a Excel formula that basically says, okay, today, how many months is it until these dates, so this keeps up to date, and then I basically divide the full amount by the number of months to give me the amount per month before the goal end date. Realistically, I'm not going to be paying off this amount per month, especially as I'd have to pay all of it off, you know, as in it would be 176 plus 270 plus 666. That's not going to happen, but it's just a good guide for me to see, right, how much can I pay per month to get it to that goal end date, if that makes sense. So with that in mind, these are then the priorities. So the first bit of news is my MBNA is fully paid off, which I am buzzed about. So I think I'm trying to think what I had on there before. I think it was about £4,500 or £4,000. I think it was about 2 on each card. So basically I have one card, but I had 2 offers on the card. So I had one which was a balance transfer and one which was a money transfer. So the balance transfer, it charged a fee to do the initial transfer from one card to another. So it was like 3.5% or something. And then you're at 0% for all the months, so that's why it was at 0. The money transfer didn't have a fee to transfer the balance, that was free, but every month you had to pay 5.9% on it. So the way it paid down is MBNA automatically paid off the 5.9% amount on the card, but my 0% was coming up, so I was like mad rush panic trying to pay it down, which I did. So really chuffed about that one. We'll go in a bit more detail in my debt overview and we can have a look at it, but yeah, especially because, and this was basically as a whole, so sorry, this line was totting up both of them and saying, okay, how much do I have on that card? So you can see now my percentage credit utilisation is 0%, and my minimum payment, well, obviously I won't have anything now. So yeah, really chuffed about that one. This is the one that I've had for the longest. It was like my first sort of, my gateway card, my gateway balance transfer drug, the first one I used, and potentially how I got into the mess. Balance transfers are really good. I don't want to say they're not good. However, they are a slippery slope, and I thought I was managing it really well. And I was, to an extent, as in, like, I knew I was paying 0% on this stuff, but I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a plan of how I was going to pay the money off. I didn't have a plan. I was just like paying minimum payments, or paying maybe slightly more than minimum payments on sometimes, but then I would just do another balance transfer again. And so I suppose the amount of fees I paid on balance transfer was essentially similar to having a percentage at all times. But I think it's really good to list out all the debts, list out the priorities, and pay them down in the priority sort of set. So these are my priorities here. So my MBNA balance transfer was first priority because it was actually going to expire this month. So I've just paid it off this month, so I shouldn't have any fees. But the way the how does it work? The way the statement works is the amount you had on that month. So although I've got a 0%, a zero like figure in the bank account at this moment, potentially for the statement period I would have had money there, so they would have charged a percentage on that. So I need to check. I think it comes up on the 19th of August. I'm filming this on the 14th of August, so I'll soon see what I get charged. But anyway, that was first priority. Second priority was the 5.9%, but like I said, because the way MBNA charged it anyway, they billed it anyway. This one got reduced down anyway, so this one got paid off first and then this one second, so I didn't really have a choice in that one, which is a bit annoying because actually this one was going to become a higher percentage for like future interest. So I was like, oh god, so I needed to pay off all the balance on this one first to even then start plucking away at this one. But anyway, they are both done. So in terms of priority, those are both paid now. In fact, I'm going to put paid because they are paid and it will get me all giddy. So yeah, they're all paid off now. So then my next priority is my Tesco 2 card. So with this one, it's slightly less, so that's partly why I'm doing it. So it's this cross between Snowball and Avalanche. So Avalanche is paying your highest interest rate first to your smallest interest rate, and then Snowball is paying your smallest debt up to your highest debt. As it happens, this either way, Avalanche or Snowballing, this one sort of works first because it's at 28.94%. I was debating whether to try and pay off as much as I can on the Virgin Pink because that one actually comes to fruition sooner. But I think actually if I can just get this £2,700 paid off first, I think it will give me a bit of incentive, and I think it'll just pay that one off, whereas this one I might then need to do a transfer because realistically to get that one paid off I'd have to pay £666 a month, which I potentially could do, but also I just I say I could do it, I probably couldn't do. There's some months I might be able to do it, but not all months. So yeah, I'm saying let's pay this one off first. I'm probably going to have to do a balance transfer for this one because it is a big figure, and I just yeah, realistically I won't be able to get that one paid off. Then my Virgin Blue, so this is the one I did the transfer on for. Originally I had a Tesco 1, so if you've seen one of my previous videos and I'm like, where's your Tesco 1 gone? This one got transferred because the end date finished a lot sooner, and again the amount of money I had on it was not going to be pragmatic to pay it down, which is good because actually the total credit offered increased on my Virgin Blue. So originally I think on my Tesco, I think the credit offered was like 6,000 or 5,000, so my utilisation of that card was then like at 90%, but by getting a new card the utilisation is now 46%, so it actually works in my favour a little bit more. Also it gives me a lot more time to pay it off reasonably, like £180 a month isn't too ridiculous to put towards it. So yeah, so this is the sort of totals. So you can see here that this comes to 15,105. I don't include my mortgage as part of my debt calculation, however, it is there. Mortgages I just see as secured loans, so they are a lot more, they're less likely to come knocking if they suddenly, change the terms and conditions or something. And this one is now fixed at 4.49%, which is ridiculous because I used to be on like 1%. So I used to pay £450 a month for my mortgage, whereas now it's up to like 771, I think. So yeah, I'm definitely going to try and pay that one down, and I've put it as my 6th priority. I get all this debt paid first, then pay off. I got a smaller lump out for an extension, so I want to get that one paid off first. And because the sort of minimum payment on this one is £81.11, I can overpay that quite quickly. Whereas this one, I'd have to put quite a lot more money into it to overpay it to get it down. So my mum and dad, I did owe £2,000. I'm budgeting £25 a month. They've got no minimum payment. They're very chill. In fact, they were like, do you need more to pay off your other debts? They're very supportive. They are lovely, but almost it's too supportive. Like, I'm like, no, I want to do this myself. I'm going to get this paid down. I've got myself into this mess. I'm going to get myself out of it. And you know what, like, it is a mess, but there's nothing that, like, I'm not an indulgent person really. Like, I don't buy designer clothes, I don't, buy big brand stuff. I mean, I shop at like Mataland and Tesco, and Shein is like my go-to. So like, I don't really spend a lot on myself. Where this money has gone has been doing up the house a lot. So like, I think they're quite understanding of the fact that like I've got into this pickle a little bit with doing the house up and wanting to get it complete. And basically I've like been paying it. I paid it. I want to get the house done as soon as possible. So I paid the premium, i.e. the balance transfer fees, to do that, to get to be living in it for, as long as I have. So I don't think they're like upset by me doing it. I think they're just concerned and worried and just lovely about it. But I said to them, no, look, I'm going to pay you back. But it just might be a while. And they said, literally, there's no rush on it at all. So that £25 is a saving challenge I do. So I do knock out 9 for mum and dad monthly. So I budget £25. It could be more, it could be less, depending on how I roll the dice. But it just is a bit of fun. And at least I'm putting something towards them every month. So Brill, that's the summary. So yeah, really chuffed about this. I think in my original video, when I did January, I was in up to about 20 grand. So I've paid off about 5 grand this year, which I'm really pleased with. And yeah, so now let's look towards the forecast. And this is where I need the help with, because I've basically been putting everything I can towards debt. And obviously that's been really useful, and it's helped me pay off the 5 grand. However, I sort of had a look in on myself and was like, right, this is like, I guess it's a bit like the analogy of running a marathon. Like, you can't go full pelt for like the whole thing, and like paying off debt is a marathon. Like, there'll be bits where like I'll go slower, and there'll be bits where I go faster and stuff like that. I don't know why I'm using a marathon analogy, because I'm the most unfittest person in the world. I will never run a marathon in my life, so God knows why I've got this analogy. But anyway, so I think I'm just conscious that I'm like, right, I'm really ploughing a lot into this, but what am I missing as a result of ploughing so much money into debt? Like, one month I was putting like, I managed to save, 500, I think it was this month, I managed to put in £560 just to get the MBNA paid off. And I was like, that's so good. And I was like so motivated to do it. But then I had a bit of a realisation that I was like, oh my God, I'm having to pay this towards debt. And there's so much other stuff. Like, me and my partner haven't gone on holiday this year, and mum's like, you really should go on holiday, you should really get out, like, he's a teacher, so he's had like a full summer holiday, and we haven't really been anywhere. Like, we've done weekends and we've done Wales and stuff, and that's lovely, but sometimes you just need to get away and like really switch off. And so yeah, I just feel really bad that because of my financial situation we've not been able to do that. Like, his isn't completely rosy either, but he's in a lot better place than I am. So like, potentially it's different because I own my own home, and like, he's moved in now, so like I'm probably more financially secure than he is, but you know what I mean, like, we're just trying to work it out. He's looking, like, we're potentially looking at getting married, and then we're gonna have a wedding, and like, there's so many other future expenses, and I'm like, God, £500, like, it's painful to say that went towards debt when it could have gone towards other stuff. So I think I might start, I don't want to say paying less, but I think anyway, I'm going to have a review and you can see what I mean in the video. Sorry, I feel like I've just gone on so much in this video, but yeah, let me know what you think. Right, so this is my debt to pay down, I don't know, matrix, forecast, whatever you want to call it. So it's very similar to the previous table. I've just sort of transposed it, so all my debts are on the top, the months go down, and then what I've done is broken up, like, so this is the amount on the card, any interest paid, and then it works out any interest that has accrued that month. So like I say, a lot of mine are 0%, so like this will just stick at 0, and then any payments I put towards the debt. And then it sort of has a summary total, and then the difference here is basically worked out with anything I've got coming in and anything I've got coming out, and how I work it with my salary and everything. So I've got my previous video goes into a bit more detail if you do want to look into it, but I basically did an Excel because it sort of works each other out. So July, so the summary for July is I paid £414 to MB&A. I paid slightly more in Virgin Blue, so you could probably see, you can't see in the formula bar, but I paid £60. Then I paid £7.68. So that was basically to make it a whole number, just to make it a bit easier for paying stuff down and having whole numbers. I'm a bit OCD on that, I don't know why, but it also makes it easier for some trackers I've created. Tesco got its £30, which is its direct debit. Virgin Pink got £65, which is the direct debit, and then I topped it up £5.76. Again, it was literally just to round off the numbers. And Mum and Dad got 30 because of the challenge I did. They got slightly more. So MB&A, so this month I looked at it and I was like, right, I've got £516 left on my account, so let's just get that paid off, because you can see in August it would have then started charging me 27.21%, which meant £11.54, which to be fair isn't too much, but it was just, I was like, right, let's get this down if I can. So I'm still not convinced if it's going to charge me interest. I think, like I mentioned before, because of the statement balance, because there was an amount on the statement, it will charge me interest. I'm not convinced it's going to charge me that full interest, but we'll see on the 18th. So I budgeted £520 for it. I've paid off that £516 anyway. We'll see what happens with that interest and I can update that cell. But essentially on the statement now, my MB&A is at 0, but we'll see how it goes. Like my account's at 0, we'll see what the statement says, sorry. And then what I've basically done is I overpaid, so that was it. I had £50, which is a direct debit. I overpaid £70 just so it went to 4,600. And I'll probably do a separate clip on this because this is just recording my computer screen, but I'll go through the trackers I've got. So basically I've set up a £4,600 tracker, a £2,600 tracker and a £6,000 tracker, just to try and keep me on track with paying down. It just means when I'm doing like my cash stuffing videos and my budgeting videos, I can sort of tick it off, and I think it's quite motivational when you do that, especially when you tick off the smaller numbers and they accrue to the bigger ones. So yeah, a bit pedantic, but I was like, right, I'll overpay here. Similar into this one, it had £70 went as, no, I overpaid 70 to get it down, and then I paid £32.38. So what did I do? I did £30 as your standard direct debit, and then it was £72.38. So that's where the £102.38 came from. And again, it was just to get that figure down to 2,600, so I could start my tracker. And then my tracker basically goes in increments of 30, because that's the direct debit amount, and then anything extra over I pay on it I can just cross off on my tracker. Similar here, it was at 70 and I've put an extra 10 in just to get it down to 6,000. Brill, so that's the money I've paid in. And Mum and Dad, they got 65 because my dad, bless him, they had their Ruby wedding anniversary, and I was like, no, I'll pay for the meal. So I paid for them, and then my dad was like, look, it's not right you're paying for us when you're in debt, and we wanted to take you out, it's our anniversary and all this stuff. And he went blah 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 blah. Anyway, I'd budgeted it, So I was happy to spend it. I was like, yeah, no, it's part of your present. But he was lovely about it. So it only felt right to put it in their pot. Like, I didn't want to use it to pay off when I've used some sinking fund money. So I've just directly put that into their pot. So I put £15 in because of the challenge I do, and then another £50 into the pot. So this is why this number's slightly out, because I haven't updated the numbers to the right. But yeah, this all works for this month. So that's what I've managed to pay off. So like I say, MBNA 1 is done. I'm just trying to figure out what is left on here, but that will basically read 0 when I do my video next month. Then coming down into it, so I then looked at it and was like, right, so Virgin Blue is going to get its £50 a month as the direct debit. That's just going to work itself down. My priority is obviously then Tesco too. So I'm trying to put £400 a month in for that, and then my Virgin Pink again is in the minimum payment, so it just gets its, I think I've rounded up the minimum payment ever so slightly, so it's now getting £70 a month. Mum and Dad, like I say, a sort of budget 25, but I think realistically it goes up and down, so I've budgeted that they'll be getting £20 a month just for the sake of the forecast, and then that gives a little bit extra going through. So I won't go down into the detail much further than past December, but I've sort of just done that until this card is fully paid off, and then I transfer it over to the next priority card until it gets its goal end date. Then I'll have to do a balance transfer, and then it'll go to this card and it will get the priority. So you see these are a lot of higher numbers, and then this will get the minimum payment. So roughly it's sort of saying Jan 26 my Virgin Blue card will be paid off, and I'll still be paying off what is currently my Virgin Pink card, but I think realistically it's going to be called something else because I'll have had to have done a balance transfer at that point. And then that's telling me that sort of July 26 that one will be fully paid off, and then I can start to like really hit my mum and dad's one, and then potentially overpay on my mortgage as well. So sort of by, you know, end of 26, I'm looking in a really good place with debt. So that was the plan. And then coming back to this bloody marathon analogy, I just don't know what to do. I think, because the thing is, we're in 24 now. We're in like August 24. And although it sounds amazing, like, oh, in 2026, like all my debt will be paid off, there's a lot that needs to happen in those 2 years. We're looking to get a new house, or we're potentially looking like we might try and even look to build one, because it's been a dream of mine to build my own house. Like, I've done a lot of this house up myself with my dad's help, and it's just like an amazing goal of mine that I think if we were to move out of this house, it would have to be to move into our forever home, and I want to build our forever home, if that makes sense. So we need to look at how we're going to fund that, build that. So again, like, we'll get a mortgage, and obviously we'll sell this house, so we'll get the equity out of this one, but I think again we're going to have to save a lot to do that. James is also, my partner, has also made it clear that he wants to like marry me, which is lovely. He's not popped the question yet, I think partly because he's like, oh, the ring's got quite a long lead time. So I don't know why I give him a really derpy voice, but yeah, it's lovely, and we went ring shopping, so it's on the books. It's not happened yet, but it's on the books. And so again, I'm like, I don't want to be, I don't know, weddings are expensive, whatever you do. Part of me wants to just go away, elope, and do something really cheap. Not because it's cheap, but just because I'm like, well, actually what is important is that we get married, and it would be lovely to share it with people, but like, you see people spending like so much money on a wedding, and I can't fathom it. Like, I can't fathom that you'd spend 20-30 grand on one day. Like, the weddings are stunning, guests really enjoy them, and I love it, but like, like, it doesn't compute in my head a little bit, and I'm just like, hang on, like, what's going on? And part of me is like, well, let's get our house first, and then we can like get married and have like a big celebration at our house, and have it like a housewarming and a wedding and everything like that. And I don't know, it's all jumbling around in my head, but either way, I'm like, right, we really do need to save for the future, whatever it is, whether it's house, wedding, anything else. So although this seems like a good idea, and it is, and I'll get it paid off by like 2026, I am conscious that I'm like, right, we need to live as well. And like, you can see here that leaves not much to put towards savings. Like, you know, we're talking £3, £20 extra that we can maybe put towards savings. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. and I need your guys' advice on it. So what I've also done is I've just flipped the screen over now, is I looked at, in fact, let me find it. So I had this pay down table, and I looked at this and I said, right, Virgin Blue, it's telling me I need to pay off £180 a month to get that paid down by the time it's its goal end date. Its actual goal end date, so this will actually be 20 months by the time I pay off Tesco 2, because I'm not going to overpay anything until Tesco 2's paid off. So it's just literally getting its minimum payments till then. So I therefore worked out it's £230 a month after I've paid off Tesco 2 will get me to right up to that goal end date. So I'm really spreading out the amount I'm putting in just so I'm not overpaying it and going it sooner than the goal end date. So like I'm not overpaying when it's still at 0%, if that makes sense. So what I've done in this one, it's ever so slightly different. So exactly the same for the beginning, get Tesco 2 fully paid off. I mean, I could really look at Tesco 2 and see when that expires, because again, I could probably eke it out until July 25 and not overpay as much as I am paying, and really eke it out to July 25 just to give myself a bit of a breather. So I've looked at that and I'm basically saying, right, as of July 25, this is when I'm going to put in £230 a month. So 230 is basically where it will take me right up to the date it comes to fruition. So on that last month in September, I'll pay £110, but then that one will be fully paid off before any of the interest hits. So that's the other option. And I can do the same with Tesco. I didn't even see the Tesco, but I could probably do the same with Tesco. I need to tweak the numbers, but you probably get the principle. And then Virgin Pink, I'm not going to get that paid off at the point where it comes into a balance, it comes to fruition. So what I've looked at here is they're all very similar. So they're all about 27 months, 3.5% fee. So I've put that into the calculation and that comes out as about £164.50. So I'm basically saying, right, after 27 months, if I divide this value by 27, so 4,500 by, well, it'll be 2 months less, so like 25 months, that comes out as £175 a month. So again, I'm saying, right, let's pay that, not minimum, but what the minimum it requires until it needs to be paid off. And that goes past December. But it's a lot more reasonable, and it means I've got an extra £200 a month pretty much all the way through now, 220, that I can put to those saving goals. So I don't know what to think. I'm thinking more I'll go along this line, and yes, it means I've got my debt for longer, but it means I'm not having to hammer it so much. I've got time, I've got breathing space, and I've got extra capacity to save for the bigger things, because like I say, with this bloody marathon thing, which I don't know where I've picked it up from, this is going to take a time, and life can't be just put on pause while I'm paying off debt. Like, things need to happen, and £200 a month is so much money to put towards something that it gradually, you know, and even if it doesn't pay off all of it, at least it's a good chunk to go towards it. So I'm thinking I'm going to do this one more. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are. Like I say, I need to tweak the numbers for Tesco and see if I can reduce that then. And still be strict in my budget. Like, I'm not alleviating my budget at all, but I'm just thinking, right, rather than it going to debt, like, let's put that money in a savings account for the bigger things, like a house, for a wedding, you know, all the stuff that's going to be coming up, because I don't want to get out of debt to only then be in debt, more debt, where I'm like, right, we need to pay for a wedding and I've got no savings for it, or, oh, right, we need to buy a house and we've actually not got anything saved for it. And it just, I feel like it extends how long it will take to do everything. And like, I don't know, I'm probably just having a bit of a midlife crisis, but I'm 30 now, and it's like, well, if we were to have kids and stuff, like, I don't know, I'm having a bit of a panic, I won't lie. The whole thing's getting to me a bit. So yeah, I think this is the way to go, but it would just be great to get your guys' opinions and comments on it. So yeah, right, crisis over. Sorry, this is going to be quite a long video of me just rambling on. But yeah, what I'll also try and do in the video is put in the new trackers I've put together. So I'm going to record that now, put it all together, trim the video, and you guys will hopefully be watching it. So yeah, thanks so much for watching along. Sorry if it was really confusing, but yeah, you know what I'm going to call this? This will be option 2. The other one's going to be option 1, where it's like, just get your debt done, out, and then move on, and then we're moving on with our life with no debt. Like, part of me doesn't really want to go into a marriage and a life where I'm like surrounded in debt, so I am really umming and ahhing about them. But yeah, let me know. Option 1, hammer the debt. Option 2, spread the debt. Do it in the set time scales, but I'll have the debt for longer, but it'll just give me a bit more time to like breathe a bit more and do other stuff. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe. It means a lot. I think I'm up to like 30 subscribers, so I'm really happy about that. And yeah, if you've got a channel and you'd like me to watch it, I'm really into these videos of like budgeting, debt stuff, cash stuffing. Drop me a note and I will definitely have a watch and subscribe along. So that'd be great. So yeah, I hope you all have a great month and happy budgeting. Hey, so I said I would show you my new trackers, and then I completely forgot to show them, so let me get them out. So, for debt, hopefully you can see it from this angle. She says it's banging everything out of the way. So, I've made these, so this is why I was keen to get to round numbers. So I've got one for me Virgin Pink, so obviously it's pink. Which is the £6,000. So I've already crossed off one of these because I've already paid off 70 this month, so it's now 5,930. So I'm going to record these and obviously can wipe them off and start again when I get to it. So what I've done is I've put 70 on because it's my minimum payment amount, and then all these 70s add up to 350, so I can just go along. And then when I do 1 or 2, I can cross off the 315, and then that should work out to 6,000. I hope it does, otherwise my maths wrong. Then this is my Virgin Blue. So again, £50 a month is the minimum payment, so I'll cross this off every month anyway, and then as that builds up I can roll that into each other. So that's the one for my Virgin Blue. And then finally, which is my new, well, I say my newest one, but like the one which I'm going to have bigger priority for, is my Tesco Bank. So again, it's £30 a month minimum payment, and I've got various different increments because this is the one I'll be overstuffing every month if I've got the funds to allow. So hopefully I'll be able to cross off some of these bigger numbers sooner. Yeah, so I thought, oh, I'll do something a bit more visual. I was going to do similar to this, but one, it was just so much money. So the thought was, oh, I'll do it like I've done this one here. But it was just taking me so long to do these envelopes. Also, I need to redo this again because look how I think the ply I used on them was a bit naff. Anyway, and I thought, again, there's no point if I'm only using it with placeholders. It was going to have to be really thick for the 6,000, and I was like, no, there's literally no point doing it. I'm just going to use it as a tracker. Like I say, my minimum payments come out anyway with my direct debit. So I'm going to use this for any extra overpayments I've got. So order-wise, it'll be this one first, then I'll work through on this one. This one is probably going to, by the time I get to maybe doing an over thingy on it, oh god, have I put that in the laminator? Yes, I have. It's going to be a new card anyway because I'm going to have to swap it out for a different one or do a different balance transfer. But yeah, no, I thought I'll get these made and then they're ready to go as part of the cash stuffing I do. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it and hope you like them. And I hope you enjoyed that debt update video. But yeah, let me know what you think on the options. And yeah, I hope you all have a great month. And she says, happy budgeting.